back in this Mr. Carter's math class, and today we're solving for y.
Awesome. So we are solving for y. In particular, check out this box. I'm telling you, about half of the work on the classwork, half the questions on the classwork, the answers are within this box. If you know everything in this box, then you pretty much know everything we're going to learn today. And the good news is, there's not very much stuff in this box. So we do not have a lot to learn today. At the same time, you got to learn it, okay? We have slope, something that we've become very familiar with lately. And what letter do we use for slope? The letter M. If I was you, I'd put a nice M on top of that slope. Doesn't hurt to write that down. Now, we're gonna get a little bit of a different definition of slope, right? If you remember last week, we said that slope was the change in y over the change in x. It's on the front. Flip it over. So, we said this last week, that slope was the change in y over the change in x. And so, a little bit simpler, we can say that slope is the rate of change, all right? When it comes to real life, when we're talking about fractions, a lot of times we're talking about rates, like interest rates on your car or on your house, or the rate of growth for your money in the bank, or the rate that you're just growing in your height as you grow up, okay? Rates a lot of times means fractions and change. So slope is the rate of change. That is something that you're gonna, maybe see on a quiz or a test. It's gonna say slope equals multiple choice. You gotta pick rate of change. Now, for the y-intercept, this is something a little bit new here. We can see it in our box, y-intercept. And which letter do we use for y-intercept? You can see the arrow. It is a lowercase b. And if you're asking, why is it a B? The answer is because it's a B. Honestly, nobody really knows.
We need letters.
We need letters. The problem is we can't use a Y because there's already a Y. We don't really like the letter I because it kind of looks like a 1. It kind of looks like a Roman numeral.
It's imaginary number.
And so to be honest, we just say B because B doesn't really do much else. Okay? So we just say B. That's what it is. If you ever see a lowercase b ever again in a math class, it's your y-intercept, okay? That's what it is.
Capital.
Yeah, they're different. That's a good idea. Now the y-intercept, I strangely had some students earlier in the day, kind of struggling with this, and it was a bit of a surprise. This is a little bit from middle school. This is where a line crosses the
Y-axis.
Y-axis. Nice job. So let me give you an example here. If I go to Desmos and I give myself a nice graph, maybe something like y equals x, all right? Where is the y-intercept?
0.
Wherever this graph touches the y-intercept, or I should say the y-axis, is going to give you a y-intercept. Now, remember that the up and down axis is our intercept. For this one, it's 0, but it's also our x-intercept. Now watch, if I put a +2, notice that my graph is now a little bit higher up. And what is my new y-intercept? Where does it touch the y-axis?
2.
At 2. And what if I change this to a 3?
3.
Is 3, right? So whatever you make this last number is affecting where your line goes through that y-axis, which is kind of interesting. If I make it a -1, it crosses at -1.
Wait, we already had basically the whole formula, right?
So there you go, right? We are learning, we're using all this stuff. Let me see if this still works in Desmos. +a, add a slider, hit play. Check this out. So what I've got, you know what? Let's use a B. Let's use a B. And let's get rid of this A. Now, give me a sec. What we got is a line here with an intercept of 1. And this B is being controlled by this down here. So if I make this a 2, it's going to move it to a 2. Now the slider is so that you can slide it around. So you can see as I change this, what it's doing is raising the graph, look at it, up, 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 or lowering the graph, low, 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 low. I can even press the play button.
And it moves.
And it will just kind of automatically play. Look, it's coming down, it's going up, right? Man, math is so fun.
Oh, so B is just a variable.
Yeah, B is a letter used to replace a constant, so I wouldn't really use variable as the way to describe it. Now, here we go. When a line is in slope intercept, please be quiet and do not threaten your classmates. We're better than that. When a line is in slope intercept form. Now, here is where a lot of students, we talked about all the stuff in this box, and I don't know that we ever really read the title of the box. Slope intercept form, okay? Slope intercept form, slope intercept form. You're gonna hear me say it. It's one of those things. Just like slope equals rise over run, slope intercept form is something you're gonna hear me say 210 times. You're gonna read on questions like 85 times. Slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. It's all about the order. So today we're gonna be very, very specific that the y comes first, then the equal sign, then the mx, and then the b. If you're in my class, you can look on the wall over there. I literally have y equals mx plus b written on the wall. It has been on the wall the whole year, whether you noticed it or not. You can probably tell it's moderately important if I wrote it on the brick wall, right? So, slope intercept form, there's 2 topics in math, in algebra, solving equations, slope intercept form, okay? Like 80% of the whole class is either solving equations or slope intercept form. So the good news is, this is the first day of a very big topic, and this box is all you need to know. Slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. And why do we call it slope intercept form? Because it's got the slope and because it's got the intercept. So as stupid as that sounds, slope intercept form got the slope intercept. So when a line is in slope intercept form, we can easily state the slope and the y-intercept. Okay? We like slope-intercept. Okay? A lot of things in math, you're like, you know what, Mr. Collier, this isn't that hard, but, you know, whatever. I don't really care. The reality is that slope-intercept form will always be an easy question. If you have slope-intercept form, you know it's going to be easy. Okay? For example, for number 1, all we need to do is figure out what is the m, which stands for slope, and what is the b, which stands for y-intercept. Now, before we answer this, we got 10 seconds left of the notes. Where would you describe the m as being in this function? Now, that's the right answer, but let me answer this. Like, where can you find the m in this formula?
What?
After the equal sign, and what is it in front of?
Next to x.
Right, so the best way to think about the m is in front of x, right? That's where you can find the m, is the number in front of x. And if you want to be really picky, it's the number multiplied by x, all right? Now, where can you find the b? You can find the b after x. And again, if you want to be really picky, it's the number that is added or subtracted from x. So, you guys had the answer completely correct. For number 1, and this is an easy one, what is the m? -2. And how did you figure that out? It's just the number in front of x. It's as easy as it gets. There's the x. -2 is in front. That's the whole thing. So what about the b? Where can you find the b?
It's 3.
After the x. And what's the number after the x? A 3. That's the whole thing. Easy. The m is in front of the x and the b is afterwards. And there's nothing more to it. So when we see question number 2, it might take us 5 seconds. What's the m?
1/2.
1/2. And what's the b? -7. Now, we talked about this a little bit on Friday. We have a 1/2, and students say, are fractions okay? Remember, slope equals rise over run. Slope is a fraction. That's the whole point of slope, that you have your change in y's over your change in x. So, yes, m definitely can be a fraction. Even the b can be a fraction, but it's not as popular. Most of the time, the m is the fraction. All right, now, we're going to get to 2 questions that take a little bit of brain, just a little bit. Okay? For number 3, I'm going to cross off this 3 because it's a little too close to my function. It kind of confuses me. For number 3, I need to figure out what the m is, and I need to figure out what the b is. But there's no m. Right? I mean,
Just do 1.
perfect. Genius. What's the m going to be? 1. The m is going to be 1.
Well,
I know, I got you. The m is going to be 1 because what number is invisible in front of an x? A 1. Remember, this is multiplied. And when you multiply by 1, you don't change anything, right? If I say, hey, take your age and multiply it by 1.
You get age.
You're going to have the same thing. Okay? You're not going to get any older. Now, what is the b for this question? -2. So easy. Easy, 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 easy. We're moving on. Now, number 4 is also one I'm going to highlight. It has its own little issue here. Okay? What is the m?
3.
3. And here's an easy question, but it gets confusing because of both of these, question 3 and question 4, right? The issue here is what number is coming after the x?
0.
It needs to be a 0. You guys are correct.
0
Very
is a
impressive.
lack of a number, but
Nice
also-
job. So the reason that this is tricky, and you can look around the class, you can maybe see a couple people who might be distracted by YouTube, maybe doing class, doing some science work, maybe a little snoozy, okay? Those students normally struggle with this because if we have no x number, it's a 1. If we have no number in front of the x, if we have no m, it's a secret 1. But if we have no b, it's not a 1, it's a 0. So if you're missing numbers, the m is a 1 and the b is a 0. The reason is, when it comes to multiplication, timesing by 1 doesn't do anything. But when it comes to adding 0 doesn't do anything, right? So if I say, hey, take your age and multiply by 1, nothing happens. If I say take your age and add 0, nothing happens. And that is why we need a 1 for the multiply and a 0 for the add. Okay, we're going to finish up really quick. 5, what's the m? -1. And what's the b? -3. And here's kind of our big question here. 6. It's the culmination of all of our efforts. Y equals x. What is the m number in front of x? 1. And what is the b number after x? 0. And that confuses a lot of people because the invisible 1 and the invisible 0, and a lot of people say, why aren't they both 0? Why aren't they both 1? But it has to be in this order. Now the last thing before we move on is that the m is only a number, okay? And that the m is never an x. So a very common thing is that I ask people and I say, hey, you know, what's the slope of number 4, right? And I'll just say, hey guys, what's the slope of number 4? And a lot of people will say 3x, okay? And that is wrong. What is the slope of number 4? Just 3. The x is not included in the slope. Remember, the slope is in front of x. It does not actually include the x. So when you're giving me the m and when you're giving me the b, I need a number, not a letter. All right, we're making some good progress. We're on to the bottom. Here's where we're going to see it step up a little bit in difficulty. The issue here is that are we in slope-intercept form? Are we in the perfect order of y equals mx plus b? Y equals mx plus b. We are not. The y is not by itself. The, kind of defining characteristic of the slope-intercept form is that the y is isolated, right? That the y is all by itself, okay? It's y equals, that's it. There's only a y on its own side. So if we look down here, is the y all by itself?
Yeah. No.
Not yet. It is not yet by itself. That means we need to move some stuff. What do we need to move away from the y?
6.
We need to move not the 6, because look, the 6 is on the other side. We're going to need to move the 2x. This is very similar to the warm-up, but it is a little bit different.
What are we doing?
We're on the bottom. We're on number 7.
Yeah, I'm there, but what are we doing?
We're trying to get y equals mx plus b form. We're
So
trying to
it's
take this
rewrite it?
stuff.
All you gotta do is just rewrite it.
We're trying to reorder it. Right. JG.
Y plus 2x equals
Y equals.
That's not right either. So hold on. Let me go through it. Let me teach it. We need to move the 2x by doing minus 2x on both sides. Okay? Just like we did before. Right? There's no way to get the x's across the equal sign unless you do this. Add them or subtract them from both sides. Now, stay with me for just a second because this is not that hard. So let's just do one question together and we'll be good. 2 minus 2 is 0. That stuff's going to go away. We're going to have y equals, and here's where the people not paying attention run into another mistake. Are we going to do 6 minus 2?
Yes. So what are we doing?
These two things,
Right.
do they both have x's?
No.
Right. These two things do not combine.
So what are we?
So here's what we're gonna do. We haven't even done one question. Let me finish one question and it'll be obvious. What we're gonna do is just put them next to each other, okay? We got a lot of little half conversations going on in class and I need them to stop. People are confused, asking questions, and you guys are being rude. So I need.
So you put y equals negative 2x plus, yeah.
Exactly. Okay. We move the x's to the other side, and here's what's important. They do not combine because the 6 has no x. Now, I like when you volunteered the answer there that you put things in the right order, right? We need it to be set up like this. Y equals mx plus b. And we need everything to line up perfect. Now that everything lines up perfect, it's time to get the answer. What is the m number?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. And what is the b number? Positive 6. Now, you have to be careful. There's always students who get a little bit, like, I don't want to say lazy, but they don't want to do the work.
Wait, do you have Like for m, because I be putting x in.
Slope, negative, if you put 3x, is wrong. The slope is only the number. The slope is never the x. Okay, so here we go. 8. We're going to go quickly. Is the y completely by itself? No. The 3x is over there. So all we got to do is move the 3x, and this is really easy. We're going to do minus 3x on both sides. We did this in the warm-up, you guys. It wasn't that hard. When we do minus 3x's on both sides, that's going to move my 3. And am I going to do negative 4 minus 3? No. These do not combine because one of them has an x and one of them does not. So we're going to write y equals, and we're going to get the order correct.
Negative 3x.
The x's come first and then the numbers.
Oh, okay, it's easy.
Yeah, not bad at all. We're going to get our m and our b. What's the m going to be?
Negative 3.
The m is negative 3, and what's the b?
Negative 4.
And there we go. Done. Easy. Piece of cake. All right. We're powering through. Number 9 is even easier than all those questions. Is the y isolated? Is the y by itself?
Yes.
Not yet. Because that 3 is over there. How do you move a minus 3?
Plus 3.
I have a question.
Plus 3 plus 3. Let me get through this question and then ask it. Once we move it plus 3 on both sides, what is our equation going to be?
Oh.
Y equals
X.
x plus 3. That's right. That's the whole thing. That ain't bad. We just add 3 to both sides. Let's get the m. Let's get the b. M is 1 and b is 3. Remember, no x's on the m's.
Sorry.
Is it a question about 10?
It's a question about 7.
About 7?
Was 7 m equals negative 2 and b 6?
M
Okay,
equals
yeah,
negative
yeah.
2 and b equals 6? Yeah. All right, we're on to 10. And honestly, 10 is a lot harder. So if you're snoozing off, we literally have 2 questions left. Here we go. 10 is actually a real question here. Okay? Is y by itself? Definitely not. Okay? We actually have 2 issues. We have a negative 2x and we have a 4.
Oh my god.
We got to get rid of both of those things. Which one goes first?
The y.
Negative 2x.
The thing that's not touching the y has to go first because we're going to finish with divide. So the first thing we're going to do is plus 2x plus 2x. Are we going to say that 4y equals 12?
No.
Nope.
We're going to say 4y equals 10 plus 2x.
2x plus 10. Because we want our y equals mx plus b. So we want those x's to come first and those non-x's to come second. Okay? Now, here's the whole reason we're doing this question. Again, it's at the very end. I said this question was a little bit harder. How do we finish? We have to use divide. And here's what you got to see. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. Every single part.
This is confusing because why for certain ones we not doing like this?
So what happened is, for this one, it's only a y, right? So when we get here, we're done. Y equals. That's perfect. Over here, it's only a y. So we're done. Y equals. Over here, it's only a y. So when we're down, y equals. But for this question, it's the 4 that is screwing us up, right? Because that 4 has to be removed using divide. That's why we have one extra step here, okay? And that one extra step is going to make things kind of ugly because when you divide, you're going to be making fractions, okay? Now, on Desmos, what is 2 divided by 4? 0.5, make it a fraction 1/2. So we're going to have 1/2 x. Are fractions okay?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Plus 5 over 2.
Then we've got 10 over 4 fraction, and you're right, it's 5 over 2. Plus 5 over 2. So don't, I know this question was like, 1 minute longer than the other questions. All we did was add 2 to both sides and divide by 4. That is not rocket science. Plus 2, that makes 0, easy. And then divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. That's not crazy. And we get to use Desmos, so it's really not that hard. Okay? Here's our line. Y equals 1/2 x plus 5/2. What's the m value? And what's the b value?
B is 5 over 2.
B is 5 over 2 and m equals 1/2. You guys are both right. Nice job. Now I do, just really quick, I want to point out that if you look at where we started, -2, 4, and 10, and we look at our answers, 1/2 and 5/2, is there any way you can start this question and just say m equals 4? No, because the m is 1/2. The m kind of shows up randomly. So don't be a student who tries to take shortcuts here. Just do the solving, you'll be good. Last one, going quickly, here we go. We're gonna add 5x to both sides. Again, we're moving quickly, plus 5x plus 5x. We're gonna have y equals 5x plus 7.
Wait, wouldn't it be -1?
Nice catch, I like that. This negative sign has been killing kids in class today. They've been struggling with that negative sign. It has to be -y. And if you have -y, is the y completely by itself?
No, it's a 1.
No, there's a -1y. Nice job, that's excellent. And so, we're not done yet.
We'd have to divide everything by
Divide, it's gonna take us an extra 20 seconds, but that's okay. Divide by -1, divide by -1, divide by -1.
So it's y equals -5x minus 7.
Y equals -5x minus 7. And if you're not sure why that is, just go to Desmos and type it in, right? Just go to Desmos. 5 divided by -1 is -5. Easy. 7 divided by -1 is -7. Easy. All right? Make sure you get this, that the m is -5 and that the b is -7. Easy, easy, easy. What is y equals mx plus b called? Slope intercept form. Slope intercept form.
You left.
Say it with me. Slope intercept
You
form.
left.
Nice job. All right, sweet, we're done.